I titled today's Neville Goddard Conversation Mind Map, It Works Perfectly. Let's start out our conversation today with the following quote from his book, Out of This World. He says, "Many persons, myself included, have observed events before they occurred. That is, before they occurred in this world of three dimensions. Since we can observe an event before it occurs in the three dimensions of space, life on Earth must proceed according to plan. And this plan must exist elsewhere, in another dimension, and be slowly moving through our space. If the occurring events were not in this world when they were observed, then to be perfectly logical, they must have been out of this world." And so I realize now that this was always happening, although I am hyper aware of it now. You imagine an event before it happens, and then it happens. As a matter of fact, we now seem to be surrounded by so many people, as far as the senses perceive, that show up and say the same things we are imagining. Even things where I once did not believe possible, ideas that I thought no one would share. People now seem to show up out of nowhere to say the same things, ready to share the same experiences that we imagine. This is the power of habitually and consistently applying this information. So altered has consciousness become that you not only notice how everything happens automatically, you also notice how everything you desire happens automatically. This is because your concept of self has forever been transformed, or as I like to see it, restored back to ideal, in which from there everything happens automatically. You imagine a thing and it happens. You know what is ideally going to happen and it happens. And so one of the ideas from Neville's work that I believe had facilitated this for me was accepting that consciousness is reality and also one. And by that I mean non-divisional, through which the heaviness and controlling illusion that once arised from those beliefs of it being otherwise are gone. And so we describe life experience now as everything happens automatically. We see it in imagination and it happens. So we imagine it and then it happens. As mentioned, we are not different. It may only appear that way to the five senses. This is one consciousness. Separation is only facilitated by beliefs in mind. And we are more aware of this today than ever before. For example, before I used to sometimes imagine how conversations would go in business, what others would say, and then they would say it. I saw it in my imagination first when it came to making decisions, the varying scope of options. What I now find is the illusion of needing to make decisions has also disappeared. And this makes sense because what need is there if everything happens automatically? Which to me, this means we already know what we want and we already know how to get there. Everything happens automatically. So another way of saying this is, from my experience, accepting that reality works the way you imagine it does. Just this statement, as I say it, feels considerably different to how I experienced the world before, which was also how I imagined it to be before, only experienced differently, where it felt heavy and not feeling like everything happens automatically. So I may now imagine things before they happen, or I might not imagine. Nevertheless, it happens ideally automatically. So imagining rearranges the contents of our subconscious mind. And from there, everything happens automatically based on what we have accepted as true, as all change happens in consciousness. And the outer world is a reflection of the changes that took place in consciousness. Thus, consciousness is reality. And I also find that you always know what to do or not do. Listen to yourself and trust yourself. You know the way. Since we were children, we knew it. Children, before they formed restrictive beliefs, find it easy to imagine whatever their hearts desire and accept that that's the way it is. And they don't force themselves to imagine what they don't want to. They already know what they want and how this works, even if they don't use words to explain it. Yet they know exactly what kind of life they want to live and imagine it as already done. So this was always happening, although now experienced differently for me from having released those restrictive beliefs. For example, now everything happens. You imagine it before it happens, and then it happens. There is no need for it to happen. Everything happens automatically. And that's the distinction. There's no need for it to happen. Nuance point. You may imagine that's the way it is, and then it happens. As needing or separation is an illusory belief in mind. And so always remember when applying Neville's metaphysics, you already have everything. Consciousness is one. You have all the power. You experience it first in imagination. The world reflects accordingly, as he says. All change takes place in consciousness. The future, although prepared in every detail in advance, has several outcomes. At every moment of our lives, we have before us the choice of which of several futures we will choose. There are two actual outlooks on the world possessed by everyone, a natural focus and a spiritual focus. So we see it in our imagination, spiritual focus, what outcome we choose. And we always know what we want. And if there's any doubt, acknowledge that you are guided by desire. And we can see what we desire in our imagination to accept that's the way it is. It's already reality, as he says here. The spiritual self speaks to the natural self through the language of desire. The key to progress in life and to the fulfillment of dreams lies in ready obedience to its voice. Unhesitating obedience to its voice is an immediate assumption of the wish fulfilled. To desire a state is to have it. So we do what we love to do, which is a result of imagining, or we could say feeling what we love in imagination. It's unhesitating obedience to this voice by accepting desires as already done. By this way, not only are dreams fulfilled on our journey, reflected as experiences, we also remain joyful. And for me, I found that it is only when I do not listen to this voice where I experience the reflections of not listening to the voice, which is, by definition, the opposite of desire, the undesirable. So this makes perfect logical sense. We can imagine desirable or undesirable. We have the choice. He says, as soon as we assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, our four-dimensional self finds ways for the attainment of this end, discovers methods for its realization. I know of no clearer definition of the means by which we realize our desires than to experience in imagination what we would experience in the flesh were we to achieve our goal. This experience of the end wills the means. With its larger outlook, the four-dimensional self then constructs the means necessary to realize the accepted end. So we want to listen to the voice of desire and operate from the premise of fulfilled desire. The fourth-dimensional self knows ways that seem to be beyond current reasoning. You see, I've acted in quite seemingly unreasonable and irrational yet loving ways to create the life that I want. Upon connecting the dots looking backwards, because this was yielding to the fourth-dimensional self who takes care of everything for you. Through this way of being, you actually further embody your fourth-dimensional self. And again, there's no real separation or gap in consciousness. We only create in our imagination concepts of self. So simply put, release unnecessary control and yield completely to who you already are. So again, back to the beginning, he says, many persons, myself included, have observed events before they occurred. That is, before they occurred in the world of 3 dimensions. Since we can observe an event before it occurs in the 3 dimensions of space, life on Earth must proceed according to plan. And this plan must exist elsewhere in another dimension and be slowly moving through our space. If the occurring events were not in this world when they were observed, then to be perfectly logical, they must have been out of this world. So each person knows what they want in life, the kind of experiences they want to have, what they desire. And all we do is accept that everything we desire is already done for us. This releases the unnecessary separation beliefs in mind, which can play out as separation-based experiences. And what about doubt? What others say, what the world suggests, etc.? Well, a few things. Doubts only exist in mind and are thus not real, so we don't have to identify with them. Secondly, what others say the world suggests in relation to doubt is only past beliefs playing out, so we don't need to give those beliefs any more power. As stated in Romans 12:2, do not conform to the patterns of the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and prove what God's will is. So you already know what you want, what you desire. It's yours and was always yours. Everything is done for you. You accept that's the way it is. You see it before it occurs in your imagination, and it happens. It's done for you. Doubts and limiting beliefs belong to former states of consciousness, and we don't identify with them any longer. You accept what you imagine as that's the way it is, because it is that way. Otherwise, why would we have a desire to experience it? Acceptance of the end wills the means through the power of your subconscious mind. So listen to yourself, trust yourself. You know what you want. What you want is already yours. It's done for you. You need not worry about how it's done for you. As you desire it, so you already have it. As he said, to desire a state is to have it. We can call this true self-confidence. And this is the key. You already have it. It was never taken away from you. Nothing can be taken away from you. One can, I suppose, try and take it away from themselves by not accepting that what they desire is already theirs. And so if one has challenges accepting that what they desire is already theirs, which for me was once looking around to this external world for proof or validation, the world made of past beliefs, which we know now that doesn't make any sense. Why would we look to the world for something when we are already complete and have everything? So the following process he outlines quiets the mental chatter of doubt so we can accept that what we desire is already ours, and it's very helpful. He says, the first step in changing the future is desire. That is, define your objective. Know definitely what you want. Secondly, construct an event which you believe you would encounter following the fulfillment of your desire. An event which implies fulfillment of your desire. Something that will have the action of self predominant. So it could be someone congratulating you on your success, or seeing yourself speak in front of an audience accepting an award. Thirdly, immobilize the physical body and induce a condition akin to sleep. Lie on a bed or relax in a chair and imagine that you are sleepy. Then, with your eyelids closed and your attention focused on the action you intend to experience in imagination, this is state akin to sleep or theta brainwave state. Watch the video I did discussing this recently. I'll put a link in the description to it. Mentally feel yourself right into the proposed action, imagining all the while that you are actually performing the action here and now. You must always participate in the imaginary action, not merely stand back and look on. You must feel that you are actually performing the action so that the imaginary sensation is real to you. So I trust you found this video to be helpful. Let's go ahead and conclude this with an auto-suggestion to further encourage. You could say, I accept all that I desire now, which is ideal to how I truly desire to be, by releasing control and allowing what I ideally imagine to happen automatically for me. I always know what I want. I already know how to get there, as everything happens automatically for me to create the life that I want in all vivid accuracy from my heart's desire. This is now a natural way of life, of peace, love, and harmony, which acknowledges that I am, I was, and I'm always the ideal I desire to be now. If you would like a copy of this mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk with you soon. Take care.